Sustainable development is not a local idea or a local policy. So, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is about a planned central economy and redistribution of wealth on a local, state, national, and international level. The process by which it is implemented creates a matrix of locked-away land or severe land use controls, control of energy and energy population, control of transportation, control of industry, control of food production, control of development, control of water availability, and control of population size and growth. Most of their policies and regulations are issued under the excuse of protecting the environment. Agenda 21 is not just policy. It is a complete system to change the way we think, the way we react, the way we make decisions, and those who promote it have very specific answers as to how they want each of you to do those things. That's why they call it an agenda. Let me show you what I mean. The Sustainable Development logo is used in that's used in most of its literature on the subject of Agenda 21, contains 3 connecting circles labeled, each one's labeled, one labeled social equity, one economic prosperity, and one ecological integrity. We know them as the 3 E's. This exact formula is perfectly represented in the City of Raleigh's mission statement under Sustainable Raleigh. It says, quote, "We are a 21st century city of innovation focusing on environmental, cultural, and economic sustainability." The word cultural is another term for equity. So, what are your city fathers committing you to? Let's take them one at a time. Let's start with social equity. I'll tell you straight out. If you fail to grasp the social equity aspect of sustainable development, then you simply have no grasp of this issue, period. Most people think it has to do with conservation, environmental protection, and it's sold that way, and very rarely do they bring up the social equity plank. But social equity is based on a demand for social justice. Social justice is described as the right and opportunity of all people to benefit equally from the resources afforded us by society and the environment. That's a nice way of saying redistribution of wealth. Redistribution of wealth, by the way, means everyone is equally poor, not equally rich. It means no one can move forward unless everyone can move forward together. A utopian myth that cannot be achieved through government edict. And Karl Marx was the first to coin the phrase social justice. Today the term is used throughout sustainabilist literature, and it is the root of new policy initiatives. The University of North Carolina's website describes social justice as, quote, "the assurance of a proper distribution of advantages and burdens among all members of the community," end quote. The sustainabilist system is based on the principles that individuals must give up selfish wants for the needs of the common good or the community. This is the same policy behind the push to eliminate our nation's borders to allow the migration of those from other nations into the United States to share our individually created wealth and our taxpayer-paid government social programs. Borders, they say, stop the natural migration of the human race. National sovereignty, they say, is a social injustice. According to the sustainabilists, it is a social injustice for some to have property if others do not. Profits are made at the expense of the people. In short, social equity through sustainable development is a means to a forced utopia with promises of health care for all, jobs for all, housing for all, and equality for all. So, the reason the government refuses to secure our borders is because it is committed to imposing sustainable development. The reason Congress refused to listen to your pleas against centralized health care is because it is committed to sustainable development. Simply do a Google search of sustainable medicine, and you will find more than 5,380,000 references containing most of the provisions of Obamacare. Incredibly, a new social justice policy making its way through state governments is called, are you ready? Gross National Happiness. The G&H. Under the health plank of Agenda 21, it is an attempt to qualify in psychological terms general well-being. If allowed to move forward, gross national happiness will slowly replace gross national product as the standard to measure the health of the nation. Rather than using economics, it will measure social trends that affect quality of life. Gross national happiness preaches that the pursuit of money and things causes stress and degrades the environment. Again, it laments that only some can be rich and achieve rich, comfortable lives. So the only answer can be to equally spread the wealth, redistribution, confiscation, rules, and regulations. Well, I don't know about you, but all that government in my life causes me stress and makes me very unhappy. Gross national happiness is then combined with, you ready? The Happy Planet Index. This has been developed by an NGO group called the New Economy Foundation, and I'm sure with a lot of your tax dollars. At its core, the Happy Planet Index argues that long and happy lives must be the nation's ultimate goal and not merely insatiable economic goals. This is, of course, based on the idea that some planners in a government office taking a survey of what makes us happy and then applying some psychological mumbo-jumbo to its results is the proper role for government. And you wonder why the economy is collapsing as the rantings from a bad LSD trip are become serious policy actually considered by real government agencies? What I have just revealed to you comes from official documents from the state of Maryland. And I looked this up the other day. There are 381,000 references to gross national happiness on the internet. It's a growing threat. Gross national happiness is the same as social justice, and it is the key to understanding the many policies of Agenda 21. All of this is in the philosophy behind your city council imposing such a mission statement, and the innovations that they mention in that mission statement are based on achieving and enforcing the goal of social equity at your expense. Innovations.